Hi, good morning, everyone. Today's topic or today's discussion, it's going to be within the domain of strategic marketing. Specifically, we're going to talk about the SWOT analysis and how we can use the SWOT analysis in market segmentation and in targeting the right consumer. Obviously, in today's competitive marketplace, companies basically came to a conclusion that they cannot appeal to all of the buyers in the marketplace at the same time, or at least in the same way. So as a result of that, companies start thinking about how they can come up with a strategic approach or a strategic plan that would allow them to appeal to the right group of buyers and offer them the right set of products or services that basically would meet their expectations, and it would allow the company to offer something unique and competitive in the marketplace. So, in order for us to really think about this, we have to start exploring the idea of consumer-driven marketing strategy. So, basically, in the past, or some companies early on in their process or in their existence, what they ended up doing, they ended up creating a company. They ended up developing products and services, maybe having a very limited market research, and then they were functioning with the objective that if we're gonna make it and if we're gonna offer it to them, they're gonna buy it. So basically, they will make their products and services. They will spend a significant budget or a significant amount of money on advertising, on promoting such products and services, with the hope or with the intent that once they put it in the marketplace and once they create a certain marketing image around it, buyers will end up buying it, or consumer will end up seeing value in those products and eventually end up buying them. So obviously, in the current market trends and in the current consumer trends, and the thing is that we're experiencing in the marketplace with the social media, with the technology, with innovation, with the the fast movements of products between countries and between nations, with the existence or with the expansion of the idea of globalization, we have to start thinking about what we call consumer-driven marketing strategy, meaning that you are designing or defining your strategic approach when it comes to marketing around your consumer, which means everything that you do is going to be consumer or buyer centered or centric. That means your product, your services, your communication, your promotion, your advertisements, your channels, all of that is going to be centered around the member, around the buyer or the customer, which means to expand even further, that's basically is going to require you to first segment the market so you're able to target the right group of buyers or consumers in order for you to develop successful strategy. One, two, you're going to start targeting those specific segments of buyers or consumers, and then three, you have to offer something that's unique, something that's a little bit different than everybody else. So you're gonna have to differentiate your products and services. And number four, you're gonna start positioning yourself and positioning your company and positioning your product and services through your advertisings and promotions and through your advertisements and promotions in a way that it would appeal to those kind of targeted buyers or potential consumers that you're attempting to focus on. So as you can see, it is no longer you're just developing products and services, you're putting them out there and you're hoping that someone will buy them once they hear about them or once they see an advertisement about them. You're in fact thinking in a strategic manner before even you offer your product and services in the marketplace, that such product and services need to be specific to a certain segment of buyers or consumers. It needs to be targeting them in an effective manner. It means like the pricing, the features of such product and services appeals to their background and their interests. You want to differentiate your product in a way. It needs to be a little bit innovative. You need to be able to demonstrate your competitive advantage when compared to other companies. And then obviously once you do that, you want to position your company and you want to position your product in the marketplace in a way that will allow you to communicate your value and in a way that would allow you to share your competitive advantage in the way you offer your products and services. So again, you basically take the entire marketplace, you divide it into segments, all the potential buyers that you could work with, and then you select a segment, you select a group or a set of buyers that you're going to engage with, and then you start differentiating your products and services, so you create a very unique value for them, and then you position all your marketing offerings, all your advertisements, all of your communications in a way that will target or speak to the mind of those targeted consumers or targeted buyers. This is the first point. You need to have that consumer driven strategic thinking in order for you to have an effective use of your SWOT analysis and market segmentation and in targeting the right consumer. So basically, most of the companies have moved from mass marketing, where you just like offer advertisements to every single person that could see it, to more targeted communication and targeted integrated marketing communication, if you will. Meaning that every advertisement, every piece of communication, every collateral that you put out there in the market, it is designed to communicate to a certain group of customers or consumers or buyers, and it is designed to communicate a very specific message to those buyers or those consumers, and it is designed to influence their consumption behaviors, if you will, and allow them to see a very unique value in your product and in your offerings that will trigger the purchase decision in their own mental set or in their own mind, that they want to go and spend the money and buy your product and services. So now think about moving away from mass marketing, moving away from mass communication, and start focusing or thinking about integrated marketing communication to where you're going to use that to target a specific group of consumers or a specific group of buyers. That's a very interesting and very unique point that we want to keep in mind. Now, the other piece that I wanted to highlight is so when you talk about strategy, obviously before you even create a consumer-centric strategic approach, we want to talk about very key fundamental things that your organization needs to have. And if it doesn't have them, most of the organizations at this point, they should. Your vision, correct, as an organization. What would be your strategic approach to realize that vision? And why you have certain competitive advantages or a very unique competitive advantage that will allow you to go after or pursue such a strategic approach that eventually would allow you to realize the vision that you're foreseeing for your company. When we talk about a vision, it's basically, think about it, what could you say about your company or your product that would inspire people? That would inspire people to talk about it, that would inspire people that they wanted to acquire it, that they would inspire people that they want to have it, that would inspire people that they would end up spending their money, basically becoming a paying customer for you to get such a product or service from you. So think about tomorrow, correct? Think about how you want to shape tomorrow's marketplace. Think about how your company should influence tomorrow's marketplace. Vision is not about now. It's not about what you're going to be doing right now as a company. It's about how you see your company and how you see your offerings in the marketplace tomorrow and beyond. So that's a very important point. Once you define that vision, once you decide how you want to see your company 5 years from now, 3 years from now, and how it's going to shape the future in the marketplace where it operates, you're going to start thinking about the strategic approach. This is basically your roadmap, your plan, how I'm going to get there, how I'm going to basically end up realizing that vision. That's the question that you're going to be asking yourself. So when we talk about strategic approach, it's really how you're going to be leading the way as a company into that new era, into that new vision that you're foreseeing for your organization. 1. 2, how you're going to leverage, your existing capabilities, your innovation, your technology, infrastructure, your digitization capabilities, your ability to offer sustainable product and services, your understanding of the various consumers. How are you going to use all of those things in shaping that roadmap, in shaping or defining such a strategic approach? 2. Number 3, once you do that, then you're going to start thinking about competitive advantage, which means, what are the things that would make your organization or make your company unique in the products or the service that it offers in the marketplace? 1, 2, or what would make it superior or better than other products and services in the marketplace, or what would make it less costly or more efficient than other products and services in the marketplace? what excites the consumers about your product and services, correct? That's your competitive advantage. How you're going to create such excitement, how you're going to create, or how you're going to position yourself to offer certain responsibility to your potential consumers or buyers about the product and services that you intend to offer. How you're going to define the success, correct? What's unique about your organization that will define such success? So once you do that, you define your competitive advantage, you define the different tools and different sets of capabilities that your organization is able to offer, or your company is willing to offer to the various consumers or buyers in order for them to get in order for you to get them to buy your product and services. So this is in my perspective, I think competitive advantage, it's more about the emotional, the emotional connection, if you will. So how you're going to leverage your strength or your existing capabilities to appeal to those consumers or those potential buyers. So you're triggering their emotions, you're triggering their feelings, you're triggering their desires and their ability or their need to spend money and consume specifically your product and services. So building that emotional connection with the consumer, it's one of the very backbones, if you will, or one of the very important principles behind competitive advantage. And attractiveness. So how you're gonna create that emotional connectivity with your customers or with your consumers, and how you're gonna make it attractive, leveraging the different or the various capabilities that you have as an organization. That's number two, or that's the second point that I wanted to address. So basically, companies right now, they have to design customer-driven marketing strategies and build the right relationship with the right customers or the right set of buyers. It is no longer mass marketing. It is no longer make it and put it out there and they will buy it. It needs to be very focused. It needs to be targeting specific consumers or specific group of buyers. It needs to be patient-centered, member-centered, consumer-centered, buyer-centered. Whatever business or industry you operate in, your potential consumer, that person that's going to give you money to buy your product and services, your marketing strategy need to be centered around them. That's one key highlight. And once you do that, once you define the segment, you need to be very consistent, if you will, in terms of your focus. So meaning, let me expand. So basically, let's say you decided that you're gonna offer cars. You're gonna build brand new cars, and you're gonna say, or let's take another company like BMW or Mercedes, and then you're gonna say, I'm gonna target premium kind of market segment. I'm going to target certain consumers that have certain income level, that have certain lifestyle, that have certain capabilities in terms of their financial power and their ability to spend money, and I'm going to work with them, or I'm going to offer products and services that would be unique, and it would give them what they're looking for. You have to be consistent in that approach, correct? If one day you start spending or thinking about your strategic marketing and you go after one segment, correct, the next day you cannot go and switch to another segment. So you need to identify, if you're going to end up focusing on one or two segments, focus on that, but you have to be consistent on how you're targeting that segment or how you're working with that segment in everything that you do, in your communication, in your integrated marketing, in your market offerings, in your product and services. So you want to create or help those potential buyers to have a certain image about you and who you are as a company. That consistency is very important to create the buy-in and to create that emotional connectivity with your potential consumers. The other piece that I wanna highlight is the SWOT analysis. Obviously, if you studied marketing, this is something that really existed for quite some time. When we talk about SWOT, almost like if every single college student, if they're gonna take an introductory marketing class, they're gonna talk about SWOT. SWOT, that's your strength, that's your weakness, talking about opportunities, talking about threats. These are the different elements of a SWOT. Strength. Your strengths. So basically, what's your brand? Is it a successful brand or not? Examples of strength. What's the geographical diversification? How are you targeting certain regions? Two, do you have a clear strategy? Do you have a defined vision? Do you have a strategic approach in place? Have you been able to define your competitive advantage and you know what they are? That's an example of a strength. Do you have the right management in place? Do you have the right support in place? Do you have the talent that you need? That's a strength. Do you have engineering? Do you have innovation and technological development and the ability to provide unique products and services? That's a strength. Do you have research? Do you have the ability to communicate and market your products in an effective way? That's a strength. So all those things basically that you're good at. So anything that you're good at, anything that you're strong at managing or developing or offering as a company or as an organization, that's part of your strength. One. Two, look at weaknesses. The thing is that you really have a problem with. The thing is that you're struggling with. The thing is that probably you're gonna end up hiring an outside consultant or somebody, or having to acquire outside talents to help you improve them. Or the thing is that you're gonna have to change how you do business slightly in order to improve how you do them. These are the different types or different examples of weaknesses. For example, you're not able to differentiate your product in an effective way. It's similar to a lot of products in the market. That's a weakness. You're borrowing a lot of money, you have a high debt, your balance sheet has a significant amount of debt, and you're not able to you don't have enough cash on reserve. That's a potential weakness. You're only targeting one very narrow segment, and offering products to or services to one very narrow set of consumers. That would probably limit your ability to expand in the marketplace in a certain way. That could be a weakness as well. You rely on certain or certain vendors in order for you to offer your products and services, and these vendors, they control the supply chain for you. Their price change, if they change their pricing, it will have a significant impact on your cost of production and your final price. That could be a weakness. So all the things that could create barriers for you within you as a company, okay, or within the elements that you're engaging with as a company, or internally as a company, these different elements would consider to be weaknesses. Now, when we talk about opportunities and threats, this is when you look outside your company. This is when you look into the marketplace. This is when you look at the external environments that surrounding you. So when we talk about opportunities, for example, this is the innovation or the technology, self-driven cars, or 3D printing. Anything that exists in the market that's new, that could be an opportunity for you. Correct. One, two. How about the timing? Is it the right time for your product and services? Healthcare, maybe it's the right time to offer telehealth and video visits and all of that. If you're a manufacturing company, or if you're a retail company, maybe it's the right time to start having your online store and be able to offer products and services through the web and deliver to your customers' homes, instead of having them come to the physical retail location. That could be an opportunity. Prices, if prices are down, especially if you're relying on certain natural resources as part of your production, oil prices, for example, and the prices of oil considered to be down at this given point in time, then that could be an opportunity for you. If there is also, you could look at it from financial perspective, the ability to generate investments, the ability to basically generate funds, or the ability to raise funds. The ability to raise funds through the stock market or any other venues. That could be an opportunity as well. Or if there is an exchange rate, if you're offering products and services in other countries or other nations, and you could be benefiting from a certain exchange rate that would be in your favor when we talk about currency differences. That could be an opportunity. But then the opposite of that, when we talk about threats, these are the things that exist in the market that also sometimes maybe outside your control, but they could have a negative impact on your organization or on your company. If there is a high level of competition, if there are global trends or political trends or financial trends or health related trends that could have a significant impact on your operation and your business, certain regulations that's coming in, that's probably going to impact how you do business, certain technology or innovations or disruptions, like some companies coming up with new ideas or new innovative solutions that could eventually put pressure on you. All of these are different examples that could be considered as potential threats. So you want to keep in mind of all those things. I will go back and highlight the fact that buyers in any market or consumers in any market, they differ. They differ in their wants, they differ in their resources, their financial ability, their locations, their buying attitude, their consumer behavior, how they behave as consumers, and how their buying practices, how they buy products and services, how they make such buying or purchasing decisions. So that's also another reason why it is important to segment, but also why it is important to know your vision, know your strategic approach, your competitive advantage, and how you could tie that to your SWOT analysis, to your strength, to your weakness, to your opportunity that's available to you, or to the threat that could impose a barrier or a challenge for you as an organization. That's another point. I want to go back to the point of market segmentation and expand a little bit on that. So how do you really segment a market? So let's say you have a big set of potential buyers or consumers. How would you segment them? How would you break that pie? How would you break that set of consumers or buyers into segments? When you read about this, or when you actually go back and read papers on marketing, or even study or review different marketing books, you're gonna find that there are really different, like there are the theoretical way of trying to create market segmentation. Obviously every company is unique, and every company would have a very special way of doing that. But to make it very basic, or to make it very simple, you can segment the market based on 4 key ways, or four criteria, or 4 key items, if you will. Based on geography, based on locations, 1, based on demographics of the potential buyers or consumers, 2, or based on certain behaviors, or based on psychographics elements. And I'm going to give a few examples to help show the differences between the 4. So geographic, in order for you to segment the market from a geographical perspective, this is when you look at different nations. This is when you look at different regions, different states, different cities. This is when you look at different counties, different neighborhoods. This is when you look at national products versus regional products versus international products or international business operation. This is when you look at different languages, targeting different languages, or targeting buyers or consumers that speak different languages, to be very specific. So that's the geographical piece. Now, talking about the demographic, examples of that, you could target, or you could do your market segmentation demographically by age group, by life stage, by gender, by income, by occupation, by ethnicity, by marital status, by family, and how many members in the family, how many members in the family between the parents and the kids. Every family has its own needs. So that's another way you could look at it. Behavioral segmentation, or segmenting the market based on different behavioral elements, like the knowledge of those potential buyers or consumers that they have, their attitude towards products and services and purchasing decisions, how they use the products, how they respond to certain products, and how they respond to certain set of prices, how they see the benefits of different products and different services, how they use these products and services, what kind of occasions like using these products and services could be related to. So these are different behavior elements that we could consider when doing market segmentation. The last one is psychographic. And psychographic, this is more going into the thinking or the consumer behavior in a way. This is more looking at their social class, looking at their lifestyle, looking at if they have certain influencer or certain personality, certain personalities, or they have a very, this is the personality type, another way to look at it. If there are certain characteristics about who they are, and what kind of group that they belong to, social group, what kind of activities that they tend to practice, what kind of opinions between even those who are liberals and those who are conservatives. You could offer different products and services because they have different perspectives. What areas of concerns, the things that they basically might see as a challenge, or as an issue that you're gonna need to address. How they define the value in the product and services that they buy. So as you can see, one thing that I want to highlight here, there is no single way where you can segment the market. You could combine different things. You could go and target a specific region with a specific age group, with a specific income level, with a specific value proposition. So you could blend and mix between the different segments, or using different segment approaches or principles to come up with that specific set of buyers that you want to target, or you want to go after. So companies, again, I'll go back and highlight that companies really need to divide the large marketplace into smaller segments that can be reached in a more efficient and an effective way by specific products and services that would end up matching or appeal to those unique buyers or those unique set of potential consumers that you're going to be engaging with. The very last point that I wanted to highlight here, actually a couple things before I end up, before we finish this discussion. When we talk about the customer or consumer driven strategy, how do you design that? And I want to highlight on the idea or the concept of marketing mix. So marketing mix, once you identify your vision and strategic approach and competitive advantage, and you combine that with your SWOT, you want to go back and visit what we call the marketing mix. Those are the 4 P's, as we refer to them. This is your product, your price, your place, and promotion. Again, 4 B's: product, price, place, and promotion. So now when you think about the product, you define your targeted buyers, you came up with products and services that will appeal to what they're looking for. Now we need to start thinking about the characteristics or the features of that product, and once you do that, we want to start about the pricing and how what kind of pricing offerings that we're gonna attach to each product. And once you do that, we're gonna think about the different channels and where we're gonna be placing different products based on their prices, based on their features, and how we're going to promote each set of products and services to each segment or each group of buyers in a way that's unique to them. So that's really almost like the roadmap once you have that high level strategic thinking. In order for you to choose a targeting strategy, once you define the population or once you define the consumer that you're going to go after, it is really, I'm going to highlight that from a very strategic perspective. It's a combination of different factors. It's part of your SWOT analysis. It's part of your company resources analysis. You do analysis for your own company's resources. It is the part of the product variability and the different features and how you're going to differentiate your product and services. It also includes the product life cycle, how the product goes through a life cycle, and we're going to talk about product life cycle in a different discussion, from the time you come up with an idea about a product to the time you realize that idea and you actually end up having an actual product or service, and for how long such a product or service exists in the market till it declines or till it goes away, and then there is a need to come up with a new product and service. That's the product life cycle. Market variability itself, market trends, market vulnerability as well. So how the market is reacting or behaving. So whether it's the stock market or whether it's the certain U.S. market or global markets, how they respond to certain companies or certain products and certain services. That's also something that's gonna drive a lot of the targeting strategy discussion for your company. And most importantly is your competition, is your competitors. Your competitors play a very big role in defining your prices, in defining your products, in defining your services. This is very important. You do not just decide on prices and on defining your products and services based on what you see appropriate from your perspective. Competition does shape that in a very significant way, and later on we'll talk about competition in the marketplace at a certain point. So really, for you to do business, you need to advertise, and that advertisement or that communication or that integrated communication or that integrated marketing communication, it needs to be very specific to certain group of buyers. It needs to be very specific to certain group of customers, so that way they know who you are, they know the value that you're proposing as a company, and they know how to respond to your products and services and how to create that emotional connection with your potential customers or your potential set of buyers. Thank you. I hope this was very informative, and again, send me any comments about different topics that you want me to talk about. But again, today was very specific to how we could use the SWOT analysis and market segmentations and in targeting the right set of consumers at a very high level. Obviously, each point that we talked about, we could have multiple discussions around it and could go even deeper and expand. I'm happy to do that. Just let me know if there is a specific area where you want me to expand on. Thanks again, and I look forward to our next discussion.